Welcome to the Christmas Connection, where the magic of the season comes alive. Join your host, Dawn Mack, as she connects you to the heart of the holidays. From cherished traditions and inspiring stories to conversations with the people who make this time of year truly special. So grab a cup of cocoa, get comfy by the tree, and let's celebrate the joy of the season together. This is the Christmas Connection.
Hey friends, it's Dawn Mack, and I'm so excited about today's conversation. Joining me is actress Emma Johnson, who stars in the brand new Lifetime holiday movie, Christmas in Alaska, airing December 12th on Lifetime. We're talking all things Christmas coziness, what drew her to the story, what it was like bringing the Alaskan holiday world to life, and some fun behind-the-scenes moments you won't see on screen. So grab your favorite warm drink, settle in, and enjoy my conversation with Emma Johnson. Well, Emma, welcome. Hello. It's wonderful to have you here.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to speak with you. And as we get started, I would love to know, and I'm sure our listeners would too, how did you first discover that you wanted to be an actress?
I mean, gosh, I'd say a deep dive. I would say probably in high school, I was involved in theater, and we were lucky to have an amazing drama teacher that was very inspiring for myself, but a lot of the students in my class. And I think it was around 11th grade when we were kind of deciding, okay, next steps. I knew I wanted to go to university. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to study, but I knew I was so passionate about theater. And then theater school sort of became this new possibility and studying acting specifically. And I think that's sort of where it really began for me there, that it was something that I could do in a more serious way.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and I have to say, from a viewer of many different a lot of different content. I'm thankful that you decided to pursue it because it seems to be the right career for you for sure.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Well, if you don't mind, share a little bit about your very first acting role and what did that experience teach you?
Yeah. Okay, very first, I think I was probably like 13. Um, and this was the first time doing a school play. It was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, the musical.
Oh, that's
So
a
it was
great
very
musical.
sweet. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. But I think that was sort of the first time where I realized, because I did a lot of dancing, I played violin growing up. I had all these interests in performing arts, but they never really quite felt right. But then coming into this medium of doing theater and musical theater at that time, just sort of realizing that you can bring all of these different elements together. I think that was pretty eye-opening for me when I was 13 and
Oh
kind of not
yeah.
really sure where I was headed. So that was nice.
Well, so many people that I've spoken with, they talk about the acting bug, and once you get bitten, it's like you don't really know anything else. You just
Yeah.
know that you know that you know that it's something you want to do, and then it kind of goes from there. And it's always interesting, to learn how people got started because it's different for everyone.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. But you hear a lot of different stories from different actors saying, oh, yeah, really it was theater when I was a kid growing up, or sort of this feeling of freedom and finding like a private moment on a stage, sharing with other people. And that was sort of where it began. Oh, wow, this is really something that gets quite um, addicting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you get a new script and you read it for the first time, like what is the one thing that captures your attention? Does it vary per script or is it kind of one consistent thing that you find?
Well, I would say I'm always looking for, do I have a physiological or emotional reaction to it right away? Is there something that I feel connected to? And then that's kind of a good marker of, okay, there's a way in for me that has some ease. And also, can I visualize what's happening? If that's clear, I think it really helps the process along. And that doesn't always happen, and sometimes that means you just have to dig a little deeper when you're starting to build the character and understand the story and find a way into it. But those are kinds of the things that I'm always looking for.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who is a musician, a professional
Yeah.
musician, and she was saying that, when she goes to select songs for her albums, she always wants to pick songs that not only she feels like will make the audience, the listeners feel, but if she can feel it, then she says, that's got to go on the album because if it's impacting me, I can only imagine what it's going to do for the listeners. And I think
Yeah.
that is true because then the authenticity of what you're doing shines through.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it does ring true that if you're feeling it, the audience will respond as well. And, of course, it's up to them to project whatever they want onto the actors as they watch the story. But I think that definitely adds to the experience for sure.
Yeah. Well, over your career, what is the one thing that you've learned about yourself through acting?
Oh, I would say resilience for sure. I think every actor has to have a healthy dose of that and tenacity to keep going because it's never easy.
Right.
But I think also mm, probably just deepening that capacity for joy in the hard times. I think that's really important to build a good life, but also to keep going and to enjoy the process when you're learning something new and you're not quite getting it yet and you want to keep going, but how can you? I think just finding playfulness and joy in that process is important. And I think that's something that's really helped me. And it's not always been that way. And, of course, I still have hard days, but just knowing that I have the capacity for that when things are tough, that definitely helps me along.
Well, and I think staying grounded in the midst of, the busyness of what you do as an actress and trying to find those moments where you can find joy because I think a lot of people from a viewer perspective, they don't realize like behind the scenes when you're once a movie is wrapped, your grind, it's always a grind in this business.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you're not taking classes or learning, you're, applying for the next 10 projects along with 2,000 other people, right? And so
Yes.
I think that, a lot of that is not conveyed, but resilience, I think, is a perfect way because it can really work on your psyche, I would think, real quick. And you have to decide this is not going to tear me down. And I can
Mm,
see how it would be a business where it's just you can become discouraged so easily and you just
yeah.
have to keep going, So finding joy, I love that because that is the key, to be able to make yourself want to keep going.
Yeah. And I think that applies for any sort of field of work too, and just life in general when things get tough. Can you
Absolutely.
find those moments of joy within yourself regardless? I think it's important and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
makes
so
for a life
true.
well lived.
That's
Hopefully.
right. Yeah, I think it makes for a well-balanced life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
life is hard. So we have to
Yeah.
find every snippet of joy we can grab hold of at any
Yeah,
given time.
for sure. For
Well,
sure.
I know a few years back you produced a short called Marcia, and which is going back a little bit, but what did you learn from producing that? And do you see yourself producing again in the future?
Yeah, no, that project actually that was a friend's project. He and his brother wrote and starred in it. And I would use the term produced lightly. I really was more of a maybe production assistant. I helped sort of connect a couple people in terms of bringing a stills photographer on set and doing some grunt work on the day. But uh, definitely was a fun experience. I mean, it's just nice to make things with your friends and help them with their passion projects. And yeah, I would definitely say that I would be open to producing again and in a more in-depth way. I see Marcus does a lot, and I've seen him actually the first time I worked with him was on a project where he was producing and not acting in it. So very enlightening to see him in that role and then see him transition into acting in the next one with me while still producing. So I could definitely foresee that being something that intrigues me in the future, but it's definitely, I don't think for everyone. So, I would definitely have to do my research into delving into that role deeper. But I could see it. Never say no.
Well, it's another side of the whole business that if you're acting, and producing is a whole different, and directing's a different, part of it. But I think when a lot of actors dive into that and they explore it or experiment with it, it kind of gives you a good look at like what it's like on the other side of the camera, and
Absolutely.
what goes into making it all come together. And I think the well-rounded aspect of that, I think, has got to make you a better actor, and just because you have so many different perspectives you can draw from as you're, in your scenes and doing things. And, it's pretty fascinating, it seems like.
Appreciation. Yeah, no, I agree. And it gives you an appreciation, I think, for what everyone's doing in every department and how important every moving piece is. I mean, I'd hope that just being an actor, you would have that appreciation too, but it really gives you that new perspective. And um, yeah, I think it's just fun to hustle with a group of people and make something from nothing. And I
Mhm.
mean, producing, you really are there from the beginning. So I would find that that would be very satisfying for sure.
What is the best piece of advice that you have gotten along the way? That maybe if you were talking to someone that was new in the business, that was just getting their feet wet, what would you impart to them that has made all the difference in your own career?
Yeah, this is actually something that a teacher that I really admire and have been working with over the last few years. He always talks about returning to your breath and trusting your breath and knowing that that is enough. And I would say it just brings up authenticity and being present in your work as an actor. I think that's so valuable. And it also teaches you, you don't need to push and breach. And I think that's definitely been very valuable for me in life as well, because it just helps me to be present. And I would definitely encourage people starting out to think about that and just be aware of everybody breathes, everyone speaks from their
Hmm.
breath. And I think that that's a very human place to start, bare bones as an actor. And then, do your training and take what works for you and leave what doesn't because everybody's different and everybody has their own way in. But always
Yeah, I
be
think
learning and
that's
growing.
great advice. I mean, that's great life application advice as well. Um, we live in a world now where you've got content creators at every turn, and and it's hard to tell sometimes what's authentic and what's not. And being true to yourself in that way will keep you authentic and keep you genuine and in the moment. And we're in a fast-paced world too, so it's really hard to stop and be in the moment sometimes because people, I think it's human nature a lot of times now. We're kind of forward looking, and so we don't stop and smell the roses, as they say, enough.
Mhm.
So that's important. That's great advice. Of all the characters that you played, has there been one that you have said, this character so closely resembles me in real life?
Well, maybe it's cliche to say, but I do try to find pieces of myself in every character just as a way in to kind of rise up to meet them. Now, that being said, obviously, if I'm playing a horrible person, I hope that that's not entirely a reflection on myself. But I do find snippets here and there where whether it's just an emotional reaction to something that happens in the story, and I can relate it back to something in my life, even though it's maybe an entirely different circumstance. But finding those sort of commonalities. Um, And sometimes there are moments where, oh, this character, this character had a dressing down by another character. And actually, what they were saying to her, I can see snippets of that in myself sometimes. And that's an interesting reflection there. And so it kind of gives me pause. And I mean, I think that's kind of one of the joys of acting too, is you're just always examining human behavior. How do you find that within yourself? Okay, well, that's good feedback. That's something maybe I don't want to always carry with me as a person. So how can I improve? But now I'm aware of it. So I would say whether it's positive or negative, I'm always trying to find something as just a way in so I can start relating
Hmm.
to what the story needs me to do and what the circumstances are asking me to play in. But um, yeah,
Yeah, I've often said that acting is like the highest form of playing pretend that you can do in life.
totally. Totally.
But also, when you can grab bits and pieces of yourself and bring it to a character to kind of make that character your own, it is, it does force you, I think, sometimes to look in the mirror and go and kind of examine yourself because you're seeing these commonalities in the character that you're portraying. But it's really interesting how that dynamic is because, from a viewer perspective, you're seeing actors on a screen portraying a character, and a lot of that is not thought about from the viewer perspective, but it is so true. But I think, you hear it all the time when you hear the saying, or you hear people talk about, oh, he or she, they made that character their own. And,
Yeah.
and you wonder, like, from that perspective, was that character more like the individual than not? So that's a really neat dynamic.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Well, you have got an outstanding, from what I've understand, the previews I've seen, brand new Christmas movie coming out very soon on Lifetime, December 12th, I
Yeah.
believe is the date. Christmas
Yeah.
in Alaska. Talk a little bit about your character and a little bit about the movie without giving too much away. We don't want to put any spoilers out there, but from what I've
Yeah.
seen, it looks like it's going to be great.
It's a fun one for sure. I would say the biggest thing for people to look out are just the winter activities that we got to do in this movie. There's one in particular I won't say. You'll have to watch, but that was really special, and I don't think you'll get to see it very often in many movies. It was just a really cool activity to get to do just for me in my life, but then to get to do it while filming. It was very, very cool. But Marcus and I had a lot of fun. I mean, we all did, the whole cast and crew. I'd actually worked with this crew before when Marcus was producing the year prior. And actually that movie's now on Netflix this Christmas. It's called Meet
Oh,
Me at the
nice.
Train Parade. So it's also one of Marcus's
Oh,
productions. But he wasn't starring in that one. That was with Ryan Northcott, my co-star. But
I
I
will
would
have to check
say,
that out. Thank you for
yeah,
letting us know.
yeah, please do. Yeah. But we had a lot of fun. Honestly, it was just really special getting to work with everyone for a second time because you really start to build some strong relationships, and it made it really, really fun.
Yeah, and how often as an actress do you get those opportunities to work with the same cast and crew that you might have worked with previously?
Yeah, you know what? I would say it's rare, but Vancouver is a pretty tight-knit filming industry. Now, this was in Edmonton where we filmed, which was why we were so lucky to have so much real snow. But I would say it does happen in terms of overlap, but having the exact people like we did in Edmonton, that is more rare, so makes it quite special.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the movie. I know it's going to be great. Having seen your work, seeing Marcus and his work. I mean, the two. When I
Amazing.
saw you both were cast of this movie, I was like, well, regardless of the plot, it's going to be great, just because of you both being in it. So I look forward to that. And we are in the throes of the holiday season. So
I
what gets
know.
what gets you in the spirit of Christmas?
What gets me? Well, I mean, definitely setting up my Christmas tree, which I'm dying to do, but I'm moving in 10 days now on the 15th, I
Oh
guess.
wow.
So just over 10 days. So I haven't set up my tree yet. So I'm really looking forward to moving. And that's probably going to be one of the first things I do is set up that tree. But in the meantime, I've just been window shopping and enjoying all the decorations around town, and that kind of gets me going too.
I know the whole month of November just flew by so quickly. I mean, I was
It
just thinking earlier today, like Thanksgiving was just last week, but it feels like it was a month ago now. And Christmas here
Yeah,
is here and it's coming quick. And
yeah,
so yeah, it's flying by. And I always like to decorate as early as possible so I can
yeah.
enjoy the lights and the tree as long as
I know it's
possible.
so
So
much work, right? We might as
yeah.
well enjoy it for as long as we can. I agree.
Yeah, I don't ever get into that debate, is it correct to decorate before Thanksgiving or after? I just do it because
Yeah,
I'm doing it all myself and I'm going to be taking it all back down when it's over. So I
yeah,
enjoy it a little longer than 30 days, if I can. So
exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
I get that.
Well, Emma, it has been such a delight speaking with you about your brand new movie and your career, and I'm just excited to see it. And um, you're just excellent in everything that you do. I've seen so much of your work, and so look forward to many more projects coming from you, and would love to have you back anytime to discuss anything you have coming out.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time. It was just lovely chatting with you too, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. I hope you have a wonderful time and good luck with your move.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
All right, take care.
Okay, take care.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. What an absolute joy chatting with Emma Johnson today. I loved hearing her heart for this story and getting a peek behind the scenes of Christmas in Alaska, which airs December 12th on Lifetime. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to set a reminder to watch Christmas in Alaska on Lifetime and share this episode with a fellow Christmas movie lover. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, I'm Dawn Mack, and I'll see you back here for more Christmas stories, conversations, and cozy holiday fun.
Thanks for joining us for another heartwarming episode of The Christmas Connection with your host, Dawn Mack. Stay connected with us all season long at ChristmasConnects.com. Follow us on social media, on Facebook at The Christmas Connection, on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Christmas Connection Podcast, on Blue Sky at Christmas Connects, and on X at TCC_XMASPOD. From our hearts to yours, thank you for letting us be part of your holiday season. Until next time, keep believing, keep sharing the joy, and keep that Christmas spirit shining bright.